Hey everybody, that screen just looked weird, so I hope I am doing this correctly. Tonight is Sunday after my first week of school, and I don't know about any of you, but if you started back last week, I'm just gonna be honest, it kicked my butt. I was exhausted, and I think, we're fortunate to have the summer off, but it's like we go from nothing to complete intense craziness. So it was just a really long week for us, and I'm feeling exhausted at this point. So I couldn't even do my hair for you, so you're gonna have to bear with me tonight. I'm gonna start kind of backwards and talk to you about this week and some things that I wanna share with you this week. So this coming week is my first full week of teaching my students, and I am going to provide you with those lesson plans tomorrow. So I'm going to post my lesson plans just so you can peek at somebody else's example of what they do on a first full week of teaching. Please don't judge me, and I'd love any suggestions as my schedule does change from year to year. And then also I want to share with you kind of if you do Daily 5 or literacy centers or some sort of centers, I'm going to share with you how I go about introducing those in the classroom and what I do my first full week. So tomorrow I might go live, or Tuesday, and I'll let you know. It'll more than likely be Tuesday. Go live and talk to you about what I'm doing the first week on literacy centers and Daily 5. And also math. I really want to show you my classroom and show you what I do in math, because I used to teach whole group math, and I felt like I was talking to half the kids, not everybody. And so I kind of changed my ways, and I love it. And so I would love to share that with anybody who's looking for a different idea. Can't get my head centered, but I think we're better there. So also I will be coming live from my classroom. I feel like it's better to show you exactly how I have it set up in my room. The tubs and the organization is kind of key to making it easy. So since we're starting math this week full force, Master Math, I'll have everything out and ready to go. So after school, Tuesday, I'm hoping to share with you and talk to you about math and how I do rotations and how I teach math in my room, just to give you another idea or option. And then finally, let me see what else I wanted to tell you. Yep, I talked about literacy centers, and I'll post my lesson plans. So today I'm going to talk to you about week 3. Now I'm just starting week 1 next week, so I'm kind of 2 weeks ahead. Week 3 and the reading strategy and what I will be teaching in my classroom for reading and writing. So during the reason we picked the theme for this week is Grandparents' Day falls end of August, beginning of, it's kind of in September, I think around Labor Day. So our school traditionally in first grade has always invited the grandparents in for lunch, only in first grade. So because of that, we decided to move our social studies unit up to that time that's our theme, and we decided to move it towards Grandparents' Day. So it kind of all went together. So really, I'm integrating social studies with reading and writing, and also gearing it around an event that we have at school. So let me just tell you what we do for Grandparents' Day. It's pretty simple. We ask the moms to donate cookies, and then the grandparents bring their lunch or bring lunch for the kids, whatever they decide to do, and we have them actually come in our classroom because we don't have room in the cafeteria for everybody. The grandparents come in, and I have a little packet that I put together, but we give out awards. We interview our grandparents. We eat lunch with them. I do a quick little PowerPoint from a writing activity that actually is going to be included in what I'm talking about today. And then they eat, and we have cookies, and then they go home. So it's really simple, and the grandparents love it. And I take a picture with each child and their grandparent. Then we have those in the classroom for the rest of the year. And it actually really makes you have a good connection with the family and get to know everybody. So because of Grandparents' Day, we do family unit and grandparents. And last year when we were picking our reading strategies, it just so happens that about the third or fourth whole group guided reading strategy, according to research, should be text to self. So family is the perfect unit to teach text to self, because everybody knows about their family and we're all different and unique, and it's actually a pretty fun unit. So I'm going to share with you kind of what I put together to teach text to self. This week, typically I have 5 books. I'm going to tell you I have more than that. I have more than what you would possibly want to use, but and I don't even know what I'm going to use yet. I just create and then I pick and choose, and some years I do one thing and some years I do another. So I don't want you to feel like I sit down and everything I'm sharing with you I possibly do with my students. And actually, I do share with my team, so it's kind of fun because one teammate will do one thing and we all kind of do the same thing, but as far as crafts go and all the extra activities, we change it up, and it's fun to see all that stuff kind of come to life. So our strategy is text to self the third week of school, and we are talking about family. So before we start talking about family, I always like to spend a day talking about ourselves and getting to know ourselves, and sharing we are part of our family, so the biggest part in our eyes, right? So anyways, I'm gonna flip the camera now, hopefully, and share with you what I have for the week. Okay, so text to self, and I put these on the front because these will be my main anchor chart for the week, and it will just go on top of a big thing of chart paper, and it will go in a straight route. Clearly I can't show you that on my desk, but after I read a story with the students using sticky notes or writing right on the chart paper, I'm going to have them tell me part of the text in a connection they made to themselves. And so we will collaborate and share, and this will just be a simple anchor chart that we will discuss text to self every day. And I also, here's my kind of poster strategy board. I'm going to move this lighting, just hang on a second because it's glaring. And I don't want everything to be shiny, hopefully that helps. It could just be the lamination. Okay, so talking about ourselves, the first story we're going to talk about is Stand Tall, Molly Lou Mellon, and I just discovered that they do have a new book out for Molly Lou Mellon, and I'm going to have to buy it. So for this one, we're going to focus about, embracing ourselves. This poor little child, short, she has big buck teeth, and she has all kinds of things, but her grandmother tells her that she should just stand tall and be proud of who she is, and she does, and ends up winning many friendships. So on this day we talk about ourselves. You see these little boys and girls, we make ourselves out of a little character here, and that kind of builds as a project for the week. And of course we're talking about text to self, so here's a little kind of a color matching thing, so you would read it and color the two that match. So Molly Lou Mellon was the shortest girl in first grade, and because of that, it's kind of like cause and effect, but we're not going to go there. She ran under the legs and scored a touchdown. So it's just 4 major events that happened in the story, and I did this because I wanted the kids to be thinking about what happened in the story so I can make a connection myself. And then here's a text to self. So they can write about it and draw a picture, or you could just do pictures where talk about something that happened to Molly Lou and something that happened to myself. I like to differentiate and have different options for different students. So that's just a sneak peek at some of the activities for Molly Lou. So also, I have a little sign I was going to hang with my craft. It says, "We stand tall. We walk proud, smile big, sing loud, and believe in ourselves." So for Molly Lou, I did actually a craft that kind of looks like her with her buck teeth and so on. But I also thought, I think it'd be cool to just have the kids make themselves. So, in this craft you get the head and the eyes, but they have to come up with their own hair. And then they can just list down here things that make them proud of themselves. or what they're great at, or, you know, just describing words. So for writing that day, for me, it's going to be just a list. And I'll be honest, I don't really know which one of these I would do. So I'll decide at this when we go to plan. Also, another amazing book by the same illustrator, not the same author, is called I Like Myself. So let me flip this over here and show you. I Like Myself, same exact illustrator. She kind of looks like Molly Lou a little bit. It's really a simple, quick read. In fact, I thought maybe that day I would read this before we wrote. So I also gave the option of talking about just I like myself and writing about I like myself instead of the stand tall. So a different option to this cute little story. But of course, day one is going to be talking about just themselves. And then day two, we are going to go on to our parents. And I really love these books by Laura Numeroff. They're called What Mommies Do Best. And if you flip the book upside down, it says What Daddies Do Best. And actually, they do the same things really well, just a little variation on them. They're simple, they're quick, but it triggers the things that our moms do best or our dads do best, and helps us make that text to self connection. So inside on this day, we would make our mom and our dad, or two moms or two dads, or one mom or one dad, or whoever the guardian is for the family. There's a sorting activity where they sort things that parents do, things that both do, and things that just the children do as an extension. And then this is kind of a recall to kind of trigger what was in the story. Now, if you have a lower class or you're in kindergarten, this might be something you'd want to scan and put on your smart board, or however you project things, and do it as a class, but as a listing to get them thinking about the text. What happened? What did they say moms do best? What did they say dads do best? And then from that, you would want them to make their text to self-connection. And then as an alternative for writing, things I love to do with my parents, making a list of things they love to do with their parents. I have all about mom, I have an all about dad, and in the various lined paper, and then all about my parents, so if they wanted to write about both. I did that because some kids might not have a mom and a dad, so I wanted, you know, if they only live with their dad, then obviously they wouldn't write all about their parents. So it's kind of a tricky subject when you're teaching, to think about everybody in every situation. I know in the past I've made mistakes where I've said mom and dad, and it was a family that had two moms, and I should have said parents. So I try to be a little bit more, I don't know, just thinking about those things. It's, you know, just the way it is, and I never meant any harm by it, but as teachers, we always have to be thinking of everybody's feelings. So those are just a few of the activities for what moms and dads do best. And I didn't want to not share this story with you. Now, I will read this aloud, but I did not include anything to go with it, only because this book is like kind of out of print. And so I just thought I'd share it in case you had it, by Audrey Wood. It's not out of print, but it's expensive. So, of course, I don't want to make people go buy books or whatever, but you might be able to find it on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, if you don't have any books, you can't find your books or you need them, YouTube is an awesome resource to go to. I would definitely preview the story first, but awesome place to go to find stories that you need for your class. So anyways, this Weird Parents is hilarious. These parents embarrass their son to pieces, but in the end, of course, he still loves them. And this is like my life goal with my kids. I love to embarrass them. They will tell you that. It's the best part about being a parent, is making them feel embarrassed. They love you anyways, and you can see it when they're laughing and smiling at you. So, okay, so after we talk about parents, we're going to talk about brothers and sisters. The same kind of book where you flip it upside down. And I do realize that not everybody has a brother and a sister. So another caution to keep that in mind. Also, so you might not want to do brothers and sisters if you think it's going to hurt people's feelings or whatever, but I did want to include it. We talk about a sibling, and that's one of our vocabulary words for the week. So we know kids know what a brother and a sister are, but we don't always know that they are called a sibling. So anyways, this story is really cute and very simple again, and we would just make text to self connections about that. At this point, we would make any other people in our family that we haven't made yet. So a brother or sister, this is a littler version, and I do let the kids make a cat or a dog, or now if they have 10 cats or 10 dogs, we just make one because we'll run out of room. Also, for writing on this day, I have a star special page for being an only child, and I talk about how amazing it is to be an only child, and what do you get to do because you're an only child. So in that situation, I try to make them feel special. But I've also had kids say to me, well, I wish I had a brother, or I wish I had a sister, and I allow them to put those wishes down and tell me about that, explain that to me and how you feel, and so another option for writing. So all about my sibling or siblings, and then only children. And at this stage, you should have all your family put together. So I give them a long sheet of paper, you can see here. And then this little thing, all you do is write their last name. And then they glue them all together. And I have to tell you, we just moved to this house a couple years ago, and I went to my next door neighbor's house, and she framed this. I about died. I was cracking up. And it looks so cute. It's in her dining room. So these are a ton of work, but they are so adorable, and the fact that a parent framed it, I think is pretty cool. So now we've talked about most of the separate entities, and so now we can talk about a family. This book, actually, my daughter got last year in preschool from her teachers, and I ordered it at the same time through Scholastic. So it is a Scholastic book. If you have book club points or whatever, you can go on and order it. And I love it. It talks about how families are all different. Some families have one mom, some have two, some have stepmothers, and it goes on and talks about all the similarities and differences between families. And it's a real simple read too. And so one of the activities I did was all families or some families. So all families love each other. So simple things like that, but some families are the same color, and some are small, some are large, and so on. So a fun little sorting activity to do with your students for this story. And then we talk about families again, you could just scan this and list together on chart paper, and then I have them make a connection. What did this book make you think of? What did it remind you of about your family? And then I'm super excited about this activity. In the past, I've done bracelets, and I have to be honest, it's sort of a pain, and tying them, and then they fall off, and the beads are all over the place. So this year I thought I need to do something that's not going to be a mess, and came up with this idea to make a rainbow. So the kids will get strips of paper, and everybody's rainbow will look different. And so these are just posters that I would hang out in the hallway. These rainbows are colorful and unique, like all of our families. So here's a good laugh for you. I went to do mine and ran out of room. So Maddie and Hannah got gypped. They're supposed to be here in green, but there wasn't enough room. So that's just the way it is. Now, you could print these, because I do have this, and actually, once I get the pattern up, I will put this type in there so you can choose, and then just type the name, or as you can see on this one, I just hand wrote it. But you can see these rainbows are all going to look different depending on, who's in their family. So I'm excited about that activity. I definitely will be doing that one. Okay, so that leads me to another book that's brand new, that I don't have, but I did order, and I'm getting it on Monday. And it's called Me and My Family Tree. It's written by the same author that does Me on the Map. So the same line. and I read it. I actually went to YouTube because I didn't have it yet, and I read it, and I, again, fell in love with that story. So this is a family tree that is optional, like kind of a bonus activity. So this was my family growing up, and I really don't have a brother named Jacob. I had a dog named Jacob, but I just made it for those just so it looked nice. But anyways, here's one option for this, the circles. And then I thought another option would be hearts. And then you can see I even went farther with an extension of the grandparents. Now, for your kids to write all this, I give parent homework, which will also be included in this packet, that says to please print neatly the names of the kids in your family, and then what they call you and what they call your parents. It's kind of all laid out just like this, and then the kids can look at it and refer to it for spelling. Kind of helps with the little ones. All right, and then again, grandparents would be optional for you as well, but since we do Grandparents' Day, I will be reading what grandmas do best and what grandpas do best. And I have all those same activities in it for text to self. We also make grandparents, and I let them kind of go to town however they want to do it, but I have different hair options for them. You can kind of take a peek here. It's kind of funny. One year, and it's in my, one year, this hair, a kid put it right here as the mustache and had the bald head. It was hilarious, and it was perfect. So, but one little activity we do like to do from this story is what grandmas and grandpas do best. And so you copy these 2 per page, and I staple 2, and then I cut them in half, and then they just tell me what they like to do with their grandma and grandpa, and they can get additional pages if they want to. So that kind of goes with that story, something a little different that wasn't already shown. And then 2 hilarious books that I have a whole separate packet for, but I'm just sharing them because they're just great read-alouds. So How to Babysit Grandpa and How to Babysit Grandma. They're so funny, and I just love this author. And she has one for mom and dad too, but they're more suitable for like Mother's Day and Father's Day, so I didn't really share them with you, but these are really cute if you're doing anything for grandparents. Some other things that we have are all about families. A culminating activity I would do. I can have an R chart, so I would glue these across the top, and we would just use sticky notes and come up with all the things we could about families. Now later in the year, I would have my kids doing these anchor charts in groups, but right now we're still just learning how to read and write and do all of that. So, and finally, I have this poster that says Our Class Family Tree, and I'm going to, on the back of my door, put a tree out of brown butcher paper, and then I'm going to have my kids trace their hands for the leaves, and then include a little picture of them, and we're going to make our own family tree. And I'm going to kind of talk to them about how we are now a family in room 50, and you know, I care about, you know, just kind of how families care about each other. I care about them, and this is our home, and kind of bringing it all together. So let me turn you back around here. So that's my text to self week in a nutshell. And really you could use any stories, but I think family and grandparents are great ideas to do that. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I don't like to always answer them while I'm talking because I get distracted and lose my train of thought. So please leave your questions below, and I'll feel free to answer them. I will be putting this guided reading with a purpose up tomorrow. I still have to go to work and scan in my crafts tomorrow morning. So I will get that done. And like I said, I will also post my first week of lesson plans for you tomorrow. And this week I will be sharing what I'm doing to prepare for literacy centers this week in my room, and also talk about Master Math, my math program. So I hope you have a great week and get some sleep and rest up. It's going to be a good week. Lots of surprises on this week. I can't tell you yet, but I'm super excited. and I will see you soon.